Hey everybody, it's Golmadex, and welcome back to another premiere draft of Pioneer Masters with that devotion bonus sheet for the very last week. Without further ado, let's just get into the draft. We've got a Fleece Mane Lion here as the rare. This is a very strong card for a green-white beatdown deck. A 2-mana 3/3, already a large creature on curve. And later in the game, you can spend 5 mana to put a +1/+1 counter on it, give it hexproof and indestructible for the rest of the game, which obviously makes it insanely hard to kill. Indestructible makes it impossible to kill with damage, and Hexproof makes it impossible to target with like an exile removal spell. So this is a super sturdy beatdown lion for a green-white deck. Solid place to start. It is locking us into a specific two-color pair if we want to play it, because it's a cheap gold card. You can't really splash it in. So there is an argument to take something more flexible, like a powerful mono-colored card like Rimrock Knight or Essence Scatter or something. But we are late in the format, competitive season is over, and I just want to play whatever fun looking nonsense we can find, and Fleece Mane Lion looks pretty fun and pretty strong, so I'm just going to hop right onto that. For pick 2, we got that Abhorrent Overlord from the Devotion bonus sheet, which is pretty nasty. If you have no other permanents on board when you play it, it's a 6/6 flyer that comes with two 1/1 flyers, and you have to sack one of them each turn. If you run out of other creatures, it has to sack itself, but that is still really nasty. The biggest issue with this card is that it's really its mana cost. 7 mana is a whole ton. I think I would rather just stick to my Fleece Mane Lion here because there's powerful aggro options like the Boon Satyr. 3 mana for a 4/2 with flash, so get a bunch of power on the board really early at instant speed, but it also has the bestow ability. Bestowing onto a hexproofer like a Fleece Mane Lion could be really scary, and it's just pretty powerful. So I like the Boon Satyr here. There's also a Triplicate Spirits. We played this a lot in our last deck, our Orzhov deck, and I think it's really great in a go-wide kind of aggressive strategy and would play perfectly fine in Selesnya. But I'm going to lean a little deeper towards green this time, because last time we were like super deep into white. So if I can go a very different direction and be like a very green aggro deck at the core, that'll keep things interesting to me personally. And another thing that could keep things interesting, which again is the biggest thing I'm going for here. Just trying to stay sane until Aether Drift comes out. But another thing that could be interesting is trying to build around the Starfield of Nyx. This card is potentially quite powerful. There is a huge drawback in that you have to spend 5 mana to cast this, and then it does not do anything until your next upkeep. So it is very slow. If you're getting aggroed out by a Boros deck and this is your 5-drop, you're just going to die. But if you can get the right position for this and you have the right deck that has a bunch of enchantments, this card will really win the long game. Bouncing one of your enchantments from grave back to the battlefield every single turn, super nasty, and it's particularly good with enchantment creatures like Boon Satyr, because then your opponent can never break through your board state. They attack in, you're like, okay, I will block with Boon Satyr, trade into your card, and then just bring it back next turn anyway. So I like trying to build a Starfield of Nyx deck here. That feels powerful. For pick 4, we have District Guide towards splashing, Heliod's Pilgrim towards picking up auras, or just Selesnya Charm. Incredibly flexible charm here that gives us a creature, a combat trick, or a removal spell. I think Selesnya Charm is one of the best charms in the set, and I'm just happy to scoop it up nice and early. So I'll take that over. Even the Guildgate is an option here too. But yeah, we'll grab that. I have not been overly impressed by Heliod's Pilgrim. A lot of the best auras in the format are bestow creatures like Boon Satyr, where they don't count as auras for Heliod's Pilgrim to search for, which is pretty awkward. For pick 5 now, running a bunch of copies of Commune with the Gods could be kind of fun with Starfield of Nyx, because if we look at the top 5, pick a creature, put into our hand, and let all the enchantments get milled, that'll fill the cards in the graveyard for the Starfield. The other thing that's pretty cool about it is that it can specifically find the Starfield of Nyx. If Starfield's in the top 5, boom, we put it into our hand. It's also pretty fun with like Sphere of Safety. If nobody else is trying to do a bunch of enchantment nonsense, we could go full Starfield, Sphere of Safety, turtling it up. It sounds like a pretty dumb and inconsistent strategy, but I am all about that today. Pick 6, we've got a Swift Reckoning, just because we don't have any removal. I could take District Guide or Evolving Wilds, get some good fixing here. Dreadbore is incredible removal, but it's the complete opposite end of the spectrum in terms of colors. We're green and white, and that's red and black. I'll just take the kind of mediocre Swift Reckoning, I think. Well, if we can find some enchantment-based removal spells, that'll be great. We'll have a bunch of Selesnya charms in this color pair regardless. You know what? Yeah, I'll take District Guide. I'll be a little more open. Pick 7, Nylia's Disciple. We are definitely deeper into green than white right now, so this can gain a bunch of life, which can really help us against aggro decks. This is an absolute nightmare for like Boros and blue-white flyers and stuff to see. Yeah, I'll take the Disciple. Pick 8. Syndicate Messenger, Sajiri Shelter, Hero of Lena Tower. They're all kind of whatever. Guess I'll take the hero. We're going for some enchantment nonsense. I've got a combat trick with Selesnya Charm as well. I've got okay heroic stuff for a Selesnya deck. And this keeps us much deeper to green. Trying to stay super deep to one color during these devotion drafts to keep us open to the powerful devotion payoffs if we get one of them. Like green, I think, has a creature that comes with a +1/+1 counter for your green mana symbols among permanents you control. We could also open up the mythic rare, Green God from Theros, and that would be really nice. Pick 9. I think I'd take the enchantment creature over Gladecover Scout. There's only like one enchantment in this format that Gladecover Scout is particularly great with. And it's like the +2/+2 trample lifelink. There aren't a lot of like exceptional auras that really buffing up your toughness, so most often with Gladecover Scout, you throw some aura on it and then it just immediately trades in battle and dies anyway. Just not particularly exciting. It's just not quite big enough in my experience for this format. Okay, pack 2, pick 1. There's Loxodon Smiter. Just play a 3-mana 4/4. Also Gift of Orzhova. +1/+1 flying lifelink is quite scary. Okay, that's actually really nice on a hexproofer, come to think of it. That would be a sick one to put on a Gladecover Scout if we're not against a blue-white Flyers deck, or just a Flyers deck in general. I'm going to take the Loxodon Smiter, I think. Certainly deeper into green than white, so double white is a bit of a cost to the gift. If we do scoop up some hexproofers now, though, I completely forgot that this card exists. This must be part of the devotion bonus sheet and hasn't been in the set till now. But that makes the 1/1 hexproofers and stuff a lot better in the future as potential pickups. Pick 2. I'm cool with the triplicate spirits in this deck. Not a lot going on in Selesnya. The Swift Reckonings are going insanely late because they're pretty bad. So if we end up really low on removal and needing to play a million copies of those, we can. Pick 3 now. Does feel like green is open enough. We should get this Gladecover Scout later, so I'm going to take Compulsory Rest. Enchantment-based removal, super high pick with the Starfield of Nyx. Speaking of, somebody took the Sphere of Safety thing, so somebody's fighting for the Million Enchantments deck with us, which is annoying. Another Gladecover Scout we can try to wheel. I think I gotta just take the 2-mana 3/1 enchantment creature again. As many enchantment creatures as possible, so we trade off and then just return them with the Starfield. Here's an Audacity for cheap enchantments. Really nice to throw this on an aggressive creature like a hero in particular. It's a great one to put it on. Hero or the Trailblazer would be spectacular. Get my non-creatures out of this pile. Now our Heliod's Pilgrim has something to search for too. It's got 1 Compulsory Rest, 1 Audacity, so it is actually playable here. I could play Selesnya Charm as a creature. This deck looks great. I'm not the most excited about the Selesnya archetype in this format at all, but we already have just a really consistent, synergistic looking pile of cards. Not mad about that at all. Got Voyaging Satyr here for ramp nonsense, but it doesn't look like we need to ramp too much in this deck. Got Mentor the Meek. Can draw a bunch of cards off of all of our smaller creatures over time. That would be our millionth 3-mana creature, or Hornet Nest, which would be our millionth 3-mana creature, and does nothing against controlling decks or decks with... does nothing against controlling decks or decks with a lot of flyers, and that feels like what I run into 9 times out of 10 when I play Hornet Nest. I've just had horrific experiences with the card, so I'm never drafting it again. I'm going to take Metro the Meek over the Hornet Nest there. It is results-oriented thinking, but it's been like 3 times I've drafted it, and it's always been complete garbage, so... Even though it is probably a good card most of the time, I don't think it's a good card for me. Take a Harpooner. I feel like Harpooner is more than enough better than the Glade Cover Scout up front to take that, even though I'm potentially trying to wheel the Orzhov Lifelink enchantment here. Okay, we didn't wheel the Orzhov Lifelink enchantment anyway. So good thing I didn't spend any picks on Glade Cover Scouts, because they're back to being bad. Another Swift Reckoning. There you go, 23 cards. That's a whole deck right there. Hold down that Alt key so I can start rare drafting when there's nothing I want. Cool. Now I'm going to have to start cutting cards every time I draft something. Probably not a Voyaging Satyr deck. And then we want to cut some of our random flesh creatures for enchantment creatures if we can. So like these 3, I think are some of our first cuts. Pack 3, pick 1, an incredible off-color mythic. That's just how things go. We'll take the Selesnya Charm here. Super flexible card, adds to our removal and everything. Yeah, we can definitely take that over the 1/4 enchantment creature. Pack 3, pick 2, another Selesnya Charm. It's probably easier to wheel than the 2 mana 3/1 enchantment creature for any white deck, so I will take that. Again, buffing our Starfield of Nyx, making sure that that card is playable. So take the Spirit, wheel Selesnya Charm or Loxodon Smiter. I don't think there's any way there's enough green-white drafters that both of these get scooped up. But some 5-color player could take one of them. What's our enchantment count looking like? 7. Still working on it a little bit. I'd like to get to like 10 for Starfield, ideally. Another Selesnya Charm, no enchantments. Boros Reckoner is really strong, but triple white is going to be difficult for this deck. Yeah, I'd rather just have another Selesnya Charm. I think I'll cut these Trailblazers before the heroes. Ooh, Dictate of Heliod, enchantment number 8, and it buffs the entire board, and it's super good with triplicate spirits. Sure. I'm really sad to see that in the same pack as Hopeful Eidolon and Leaf Crown Dryad. If we could have gotten these 2 on the last 2 picks, that'd be sick. Really upping that enchantment count, but Dictate of Heliod it is. Card is going to be big. Big damage. Speaking of big damage, here's a 4/4 Trample. That also potentially draws us some cards as we cast Audacities or Selesnya Charm it up or anything like that. Okay, I'm not going to play any of this. I have 1 Audacity and 1 Compulsory. I think I'm only playing 1 Heliod's Pilgrim at that point. Pick 7. I guess I can play a Knightly Valor. Makes our Pilgrim a little better and gives us a little more enchantments for Starfield. Maybe we drop Nylia's Disciple. I feel like we have so many cheap creatures to be trading off with. We already have a decent matchup against aggressive decks. We don't need the strictly life gain kind of card here. Yeah, I'm going to run Lotus Eye Mystics over Nylia's Disciple. Another card where it's great to just trade your enchantment creature off and then slam down the Mystics. Probably not playing that. We got the Selesnya Charm and the Loxodon Smiter back. Play another Selesnya Charm over a Swift Reckoning. Millions of Selesnya Charm removal spells. Syndicate Messenger does look fine in here, but I'll run Kabira Takedown over Plains. We got the Hopeful Eidolon back. Let's go. Find a way to fit that in here. I'm just going to cut all the Swift Reckonings. We can take down the small creatures and Selesnya Charm all the big ones. Okay, Imposing Sovereign's generally good in aggro. But all my other 2-drops are better than it. Yeah, I'd rather have something higher on the curve then. But I might cut that as well. Because I think Lotus Eye Mystics and Triplicate Spirits are both better 4-drops than Messenger. I generally treat Triplicate Spirits as a 4-drop. You just need 2 creatures on board to cast that for only 4 mana. Okay. You know what? Growing ranks with 4 Selesnya Charm might not be terrible. That still feels pretty inconsistent. If the best it's ever doing is making a 2/2 during my upkeep every turn, and more often than not it's doing literally nothing, it's probably not worth running. Yeah, let's not get too spicy here. All right. 14 creatures and 4 Selesnya Charms. It's like 18 creatures and a Triplicate Spirits. But we're going to cast these as actual spells a lot of the time as well. So I don't want to just fully treat those like guaranteed creatures. I do cut a Plains for takedown. Does feel like a position where we cut 2 creatures ideally, but I don't think it'd be terrible to cut like 1 creature and 1 instant or sorcery. I definitely don't want to cut any enchantments. Let's cut Syndicate Messenger, I think for sure. Maybe Crawl Harpooner is just a generically good 2-drop when I have all these other ones. 7 of them. And maybe one of these heroes as well. Got a decent amount of ways to target them, but I want to cut a flesh and blood creature over an enchantment creature. That's fine. This seems good enough for me, and it ain't that serious, it ain't that deep. We are in the no man's land period of Pioneer Masters drafts, where the only competitive Pioneer Masters draft event is over, so we're not even like practicing for anything competitive. We're just playing for some fun, and this looks more than fun enough for me. Might go another Plains over another Forest. I don't really have a lot of double white. My only double white's at like 5 mana here. Yeah, no, 9/8 split seems okay. We'll just call it a deck here, hop into the gameplay, and see how it does. Here we are for game 1, immediately punished for our land decisions. Only 1 more white source than green sources, Arena says. Then eat forests, idiot. Alright, we'll take the mulligan. Wow. Yeah, Arena really said eat forests. To mold a 5 game 1. I've got Harpooner and then Rhino off of any 2 lands here. This sucks, but I think I have to keep this. Draw the only double white card in the entire deck. Feels good. Triplicate Spirits is technically double white, but you always convoke it. And tapping any white creature pays for 1 of the white mana costs, so tapping any of these night tokens. Playing against Rakdos, there's the Zulaport Cutthroat Extorted with Basilica Shrieker. Or Basilica Screecher. I'm just racing for now. Hitting them for 3 a turn here, over holding up the blocker. Selesnya Charm on a Cutthroat might be decent. Never mind. Oh boy. Any human they control dying gives them a 2/2 now. That includes Zulaport Cutthroat. That's the Rhino, or not the Rhino, the Necromancer and the Cutthroat. Super gross. We have found our lands here. We got our spell land and then a plains, so we're at the 4 mana to have the Rhino down. There's the ultimate price on the Rhino. Extorted. Land for turn. Boulder Salvo the Harpooner. We go to 10. Well, we missed 2 land drops this game, and that might have been too many. Disgusting. Disciple with 5 Devotion to Black here. That's frustrating. I could Dictate right now, and then they get rid of a Selesnya Charm, and I've got 1 creature to play next turn and just die. Could double Selesnya Charm now to make sure I get the maximum creatures I can, and then they ditch Dictate. I think I double Selesnya Charm. I guess these are both functionally the same card at this point. Dictate, I have 2 4/4s. Knightly Valor, I have a 4/4 and 2 2/2s. Unless their last card is Wild Slash, which it is not. They block this with everyone, they kill it. And I kill these 2 and they get 2 zombies. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Butcher the Disciple, trigger the Necromancer, kill a 2/2, get a 2/2. Pretty nasty. This creature puts us down to 5. It's been just some rough variance this game. We had some really bad mana on the mulligans, and we're just going to end it with some really bad mana with the Flood. And they've got just an absurd Necromancer deck there. Tons of humans for this thing. So this would be hard to beat on a good day. Hard to beat on a good draw, and this is not a good draw. Yeah, I was gonna say, if you attack all, I'm dead. They have to consider what I might have in hand here. I could have some spell, but I don't, so I'm just dead to Cutthroat triggers. And we move on. We are 0-1, heading into game 2. All right, here we are for game 2. We drew both of our colors. Already a super spicy start. We actually have the Starfield of Nyx with the Commune with the Gods to try to fill the grave with enchantments. Just pick up a creature, mill the rest of it. This could be pretty good. Oh, we drew the Dictate. I'm supposed to mill the Dictate. Oh my god, look at all these enchantments. I do have to take one of them, though. I don't have double green for Boon's Satyr. I guess Ghostblade Eidolon, and I have the Heliod's Pilgrim for an Audacity on it. That could be sketchy if I hit a forest here. Okay, not a forest yet. I think I'm going to lead with the Eidolon. Because by itself, it's not particularly threatening. Okay, sure. Disruption it. If we lead with Eidolon, we get rid of its summoning sickness, and then this turn I get to go Pilgrim and then immediately cast Audacity on it. Can still go Pilgrim and Audacity, which could draw removal from my opponent. This is just a 1-for-1 if they do it. Okay. Now it's a 2-for-1 because I spent 1 card total, a Heliod's Pilgrim, and if they spend a removal spell, I draw a card, so I'm up a card in the exchange. Oh, don't become a 1/4. Don't become a 1/4. No! Heliod's Pilgrim is going nowhere. Well, they're tapped out of blue mana, so now is a solid time to cast Dictate a Heliod, I guess. So I suppose we are actually getting damage in. Boom. How does the other part work? All your non-aura enchantments are now creatures. If you have 5 or more, we're going to have 3 on board. Goodbye, Triplicate Spirits. Because it's good with Dictate. You know, all things considered, I probably should have shown them Starfield Lotus Eye Mystics. Okay, they're over it anyway. I'm surprised by that concession, actually. That was a really bad reveal for me. I was just so excited about Starfield of Nyx that I wanted to really make sure they couldn't get rid of it. But if I show them Lotus Eye Mystics Starfield of Nyx, they can discard Starfield, which I can then pick up with Mystics, or they can discard Mystics and then I can just cast Starfield. And Triplicate Spirits is insanely powerful with Dictate of Heliod on board. So I should have just not shown them that and then just went, yeah, land Triplicate Spirits and just won that way. I just wanted to win the cooler way. And now I didn't get to win either. Maybe that's why they conceded. I am completely stripped of the satisfaction. We are 1-1 heading into game 3. Alright, a mono white hand here for game 3. Definitely not ideal. But I'm going to keep it. We know we have Spirit turn 2. Very likely to have Mystics turn 4. And if we find any green source, then we have tons of action. Playing against a Gates deck. Golgari Guildgate and Gateway Plaza over there. Gatebreaker Ram already. Yikes. I'm happy to have the Selesnya Charm, but not happy to not have found a green source yet still. Man, the Vigilance Trample, it's just unbeatable on board. You have to have the removal for it. Because we can't attack them to race them or anything here because it's just going to be up on blockers. And we can't block it because it's a 5/5. I could double block here. If they have any trick or instant speed removal, I'd lose my whole board for nothing. Feels pretty bad when I have a Dictate coming up. Forest, forest. Oh my god. We're on a 9-8 split, Arena. You can't do this to me. Do you know how much I've sacrificed? Yesterday with my Orzhov sacrifice deck. Check out the video. I guess we gotta just play a 3-2. We have to block. At this rate. No attack with Gatebreaker Ram. Let's go. That's what I like to see. Ooh, Spirit of the Labyrinth. Shut off the Gatekeepers. That's what I like to see. Planes. Alright, we passed the turn there. We had to end the chain of that's what I like to see with something. And it had to be planes. It's honestly not terrible here, because obviously we get to cast our Dictate now. Ooh, glad I didn't cast at sorcery speed to try to play around a counterspell. Whee! Nom 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 nom. Delicious. Actually, I'll lose the Mystics and keep the Eidolon. That feels better. I gotta lose one of them either way, and that feels like the better one to lose. Ugh! We can just, like, slam dunk our opponent into the next realm if I find one forest. Please. We are 13 cards deep. There are 8 left in the next 27. Those odds honestly aren't insanely good. But the odds of hitting 1 green in the first 13 would have been decent. Can't believe the audacity, Arena. The audacity to do this to me. I'm about to die. I die in 2 swings. Oh, I die right now. Here we are for game number 4. We just gotta start believing in the 9-8 split. Look, we got 1 white source, 1 green source. We have both colors. Slam dunk, insta keep. Get this game rolling. Keep. Our opponent is on the play, and they start with Azorius Guildgate. I'll start with a 1-1. I don't really feel the need to immediately turn these into 2/2s because they've got all the other abilities that are pretty good. So I'll play a tap land turn 2, then untap land turn 3, and just skip over to the 3-drops and keep these for their flexible abilities later. Maybe spit some out on turn 4. Alright, that's not a bad trade. 1-drop trades into their 2-mana removal spell. Ingenious Scab. Oh, green source. Let's go flash in a Boon Satyr, then Pilgrim Audacity it up and have a 6/2 trample. Then Selesnya Charms and a Dictate up for combat tricks later. Tons of options for how we wanted to play these early turns out, which is pretty cool. Devour Flesh is back. It's a good thing Heliod's Pilgrim has a great enter effect. And then I just sack a 1/2 that doesn't do anything else. Cool, cool, cool. Find Audacity. Big damage. Rawr. Even if they spend removal on Heliod's Pilgrim to make us sack the Boon Satyr, or I guess at that point they just spend removal on Boon Satyr. Even if they spend removal on Boon Satyr, draw a card off of Audacity here. That's not the Dictate of Heliod land. That would have been super sick. Well, compulsory, and then show me what you got. Whee! It's gonna be the +2/+0 thing. We're gonna force them to have multiple copies because we have Selesnya Charm. Trump 2 damage, get trampled over. Gain some life. Devour Flash my Pilgrim, yeah. And then Cruelty the Satyr. That Cruelty must have been a top deck with how they played. Alright, resolves. We draw a card off Audacity. We do not have a response to that. Yeah, I was going to say, none of that last turn makes any sense if they had a Cruelty in hand. Go. My 4/4. Boop. You know, I probably could have went for the kill a turn sooner if I just made 2 more 2/2s and then dictated next turn. They'd be at 10 instead of 8, but then I'd have 3 4/4s attacking for 12 when they're at 10. So that's probably better. Treasure Cruise. Draw 3. Lundy Vision. They're tapped out. I could just make an 8/8. Still kill them in one turn. Let's go. Rar. +2/+2. Boop. +2/+2. Boop. I kind of want to play a deck of 17 lands and 23 Selesnya Charms now, because that was pretty sweet. We are 2-2 now, heading into game 5. We're finding all of the good mana hands now. Let's go. We've got the insane, absurd Dictate of Heliod Triplicate Spirits combo again. And this time I might actually cast it. I will remember not to discard Triplicate of Spirits this time. I'll give you that at least. Wow, we've got kind of the curve out here. We drew into our 3-mana 4/4. I have to hit a land every turn from now on until 5 mana. I guess I just need to draw 2 lands in a row. But if we do that, like, this is going to be insane. Harpooner into Smiter, into double Selesnya Charm, into Dictate of Heliod. Feels kind of unbeatable. They're on Boros with no creatures out yet somehow. We're out aggroing the Boros player. Alright, Boros deck that didn't get to start till turn 4, and so far so good. We are just drawing into the absolute curve out here. I think I'm going to spend these on 2 2/2s. That way if I top deck the land for Dictate, they just die here. I guess I could have also done Triplicate Spirits, and if I top decked the Dictate, they would have died, but then I deal 0 damage this turn. Okay, goodbye Smiter. Okay, so now they block Harpooner and take 8. No longer dead on board if I top deck the Dictate of Heliod mana. Okay, now they're really not dead on board. They are still very much on the defensive, though, so I'm going to make 2 2/2s here. In the worst case scenario, we're going to have Triplicate Spirits. Ooh, okay, Starfield is pretty cool. Yeah, so the fact that these have Vigilance to go with the Triplicate Spirits is pretty sick, but I guess I only needed one of them to convoke the Triplicate Spirits, but still. It's still pretty sick. They are down to 6. Insanely dead to Dictate here. Still in a pretty bad spot otherwise. They're holding up 2 mana and praying that whatever 2 mana instant they have is enough. It might be, because we still don't have Dictate, but let's see what it is. Block there for a trade is fine. A block there for a trade is fine. I could attempt lethal here, but they specifically chose not to draw a card with Mentor the Meek, which means they definitely have a spell here, and we can Selesnya Charm in response to that spell when they're tapped out. So yeah, now that they've tapped out, we can lethal them. I think. Maybe not. I didn't actually do the math, but I think this is lethal. Yeah, this is lethal. This is exactly 6, because trample. Cool. Just jamming in. See, green can do aggro too. It's not just red's nonsense in this format. We are 3-2 now, heading into game number 6. Ooh, I don't think we've actually cast Fleece Mane Lion yet. I think we had it in 1 or 2 of our monocolored hands. But we haven't cast it yet. This will be the game. Also, a Ghostblade Eidolon with Audacity on it could be filthy. And the Fleece Mane Lion might draw our opponent's removal to keep Eidolon around. Gruel from our opponent. They do seem to have something instant speed here if it's a wild slash goodbye Eidolon, but it is not. Hold all of their mana up so they can use removal in response to me trying to Audacity so I don't draw the card or anything. Oh... This is still got to be worth trying here, because I have literally nothing else to do with my mana here. If I had any other play, even if it's just like playing a 2/2, I would just go for that instead. Because it is quite the blowout. If they 2-for-1 removal. Okay, it's just the flash creature. That is so fine. Eidolon goes super hard here. If they have removal for it, we still draw the card off Audacity to try to hit another creature. If they don't have removal for it, they are just dead. That is not removal. It's time for Eidolon to go the distance, and it better go the distance, because we've drawn a lot of lands here. If this Eidolon gets killed, we have, like, nothing left. They can go to 1 life, or they can chump with Rampager and still go to, like, 6. And they choose to go to 1. And there's the concession from our opponent. They just don't have the removal for a 5/3 double strike trample vigilance. Just the classic Selesnya auras route there, making a ridiculous double striker. We are now 4-2, more wins than losses with this deck heading into Game 7. All right, here we are on the draw, Game 7. Dictate Heliod Triplicate Spirits again. We've never cast these two together, but we keep drawing them together. They are phenomenal as a team if we ever make it to those mana costs. So far, so good. We've got 3 lands. Trying to get to 5 mana maximum because we can convoke for Triplicate Spirits. There's a hopeful Eidolon. I'm just going to play a 2/2 here. Sphinx's Tutelage. All right, we need to kill them fast or we are going to mill out. Tutelage mills us 2 every time they draw a card, so more than 2 a turn, because there's plenty of cheap card draw in the format. And if they mill 2 green cards or 2 white cards, then they mill another card off of us, which is brutal. So I'm just running out the Hopeful Eidolon just to have as many creatures out as possible immediately. I don't think that spending 4 mana to bestow just +1/+1 is going to work out next turn, trying to outrace the Sphinx's Tutelage. So I'm just getting all the threats that I can here. At least Lotus Eye Mystics plays pretty well against the Tutelage. I mean, we don't have any enchantments in grave yet. But if they block here, we get to pick up an Audacity. Nice. If they don't block, do I just compulsory rest? No, it's got to be Triplicate Spirits. Mill 2. Alright, Plain Spirit of the Labyrinth. Those do not share a color. There's Audacity to draw our opponent a card and mill us again. Hits Plains. Those are colorless, so we only get milled 2. There's Crawl Harpooner to kill 1 of our many flyers. If I hit a land, but they've milled so many of our lands, which is awkward because I really need to get this Dictate mana. But if we hit it, we mega win. So that's the goal. Alright, show me Dry Disruption or die. Let's just pre-combat it. That is not Dry Disruption. GG. That is 12 damage here. Wow. Alright, well, that's our first time playing Triplicate Spirits in the Dictate of Heliod, and it was completely absurd. A devastating game for our opponent. We are 5-2 in the money out of this draft, heading into round 8. Feels like we got the bad mana out of the way early here in terms of just hitting monocolored hands in this draft, because we have had a sequence of great openers now. No mulligans required. There's Undead Butler to start our opponent's game off with their Golgari deck. They mill 2 creatures, so Seed Guardian and Experiment 1, as well as a Forest. Let's get things started with Commune with the Gods for our Starfield of Nyx. Sadly, No enchantments milled here, because the only enchantment we find is our Spirit of the Labyrinth, the only creature there, which means I have to pick that up. There's their commune with the gods. Fill their grave. Got the gigantic Sylvan Primordial for the top of the curve, the Caryatid to help ramp up, or the Stab Wound for some early removal. They go ahead and take the Sylvan Caryatid and cast that next turn. We got a 19 from Undead Butler. Getting a free kill on the Butler isn't even that good, but it's still definitely better to get the Boon Satyr out first here. So if I get a free kill on the Butler, they just pick up a Seed Guardian or an Experiment 1 or something, which I don't want them to do. So yeah, I'll take the hit and then crack back with the Satyr. Cool. Harpooner and Spirit, or Harpooner and hold up Selesnya Charm. I think it's early enough to drop the Spirit, use the Selesnya Charm as a trample trick to get over the Butler and keep the Spirit on board next turn. Well, we've got 2 Selesnya Charms, but they'll get all the sorcery speed, summoning sick creatures out of the way, keep the more flexible spells for later, generally. Here's one of those matchups where Compulsory is a little awkward. It doesn't really do anything to the Butler. Still good against the Asp here, and we did not hit the Starfield of Nyx mana, so I'll just Compulsory the Asp that they cast. Send in the team, trample up the Spirit of the Labyrinth so it doesn't trade into the Butler. Yeah, I'm like, there's no reason for them not to block. Even if they knew 100% that we had a Selesnya Charm here, Undead Butler has a really good death trigger, so they're still so safe. Alright, they are down to 6 life now. But the Undead Butler is going to pick up their best creature in grave. Tons of options here. Probably Seed Guardian as the best blocker. They only have 1 forest, though. I was going to say only 1 green source, but the Caryatid could help cast it. But if they tap the Caryatid, that's 1 less blocker, which is pretty bad. Experiment 1. Just take the cheapest blocker they can cast here and try to get a wide board. Seems like their plan. With Compulsory Rest on the board, they've got a gain 2 sitting there if they have 2 mana up. So we have to keep that in mind when we're calculating if we have lethal. They've got 5 mana untapped right now. 3 of it goes to a Stab Wound, but that is still 2 untapped mana to sack the Asp and be at 8 life. They can do that post blocks too. Okay, they spend 2 mana on Savage Punch, fair enough. Did not hit the land. We've got 2 excellent 5-drops in this hand, but just not the mana for them. Trample over again, put them to 2, but again they have the Asp with the Compulsory on it. So they're functionally at 4. Nemesis of Mortals, massive blocker, kind of stops our attacks here. We're at the point of starfielding into a long game win now. Yes, because they are at essentially at 4 life here because they can sack the Asp. They only have 1 blocker up, but I don't have a trick to get 4 damage in. I guess this means they have to block Fleece Mane Lion with Nemesis. Go to 1. You know what? I guess if I Knightly Valor the Spirit, they have to block the Spirit. Fleece Mane Lion gets in for 3. They go to 1 life, and I still play another creature this turn. And this puts 2 more enchantments in grave for Starfield. And it kills the Nemesis, gets that blocker out of the way. Yeah, that's probably better than a Starfield right now. There's the Commune with the Gods. They find a Crawl Harpooner. That's it. going to be 2 blockers. No, they still only have 1 forest on board. That's brutal. Wow, okay. Horrific mana issues for our opponent. I mean, they milled 1,000,000 forests, so we know they're running plenty. But they only drew the 1 naturally, so they had to spend the green for the commune, and then the only way to play the Harpooner was tapping the Caryatid. They'd only have 1 blocker up there no matter what. That is super rough for our opponent. Granted, pretty locked in for the win either way, thanks to Starfield, unless they had a Conclave Naturalist or something to blow this up. Because our grave is loaded with great enchantments to grind out the long game. But those were some rough draws over there. We are 6-2, I think? Or are we just 5-2? Either way, we're in the money now. And we just got a mythic random card, Massacre Girl from Murders at Karlov Manor. Pretty fantastic. We're 6-2. Wow. All right. Quite the rally. I think we started this off 1-2, and we just got 5 wins in a row now. We made it all the way to the final boss to see if we can't get a trophy run with this. Selesnya aggro has been taking names. All right, here we are for the final battle. This is the final game of Magic. No matter what, if we win or lose, this event will be done here. And we're back to the monocolored hands we started with. This feels like a forced mulligan. I have a double white card I'm really trying to hit, and if I don't hit a plains or just a white source soon, all I have is a Boon Satyr. But you know what? I'm going to end it with hope. This draft will end with a hopeful message. If you just believe in the heart of the cards, you'll get there and succeed. We're going to draw plains into plains. We're going to go Selesnya Charm into Boon Satyr. Well, no, Selesnya Charm into Loxodon Smiter into, like, Boon Satyr, turn 4. We're going to turn 5 Dictate, and they're just going to be dead. It's going to be incredible. Watch us draw double white. We got this. This is fine. We still have turn 3 Boon Satyr. We'll be fine. Gotta believe. Alright. Commune with the gods is okay. Mill 2 planes, that's fine. That's fine. We can still get there. We're not under a lot of pressure. There's Nyx Weaver. This is so fine. Don't worry about it. This is not me giving up on Dictative Heal yet. I'll just Lotus Eye Mystics it back and we'll be fine. Double Nyx Weaver. Pretty cool. I think that's not a May ability. Okay, Forest 3's okay, because we can play Boon Satyr off that. Just get the plains next turn. Okay, they definitely kill us before they mill out. But it is kind of cool that it's not a May ability to mill 2 each turn. Okay, I'm going to have to trade Boon Satyr into a Nyx Weaver because they sacked the Zulaport Cutthroat to Sidisi into the best card in their deck. Oh. If we want to go full honesty mode now and stop with the memes and the jokes, their hand looks pretty incredible. So I think even a really good 6-card hand from us is not super likely to be able to win this. When they get to go Cutthroat, Nyx Weaver, Sidisi as turn 2, 3, 4, 5, and then Sidisi means they just curve into the next best card in their deck. Curve into their biggest bomb, turn 6. Yeah, just Alpha Authority Sidisi. Yeah, we were never winning this game with a 6-card hand regardless. And the truth behind the choice to not mulligan there is that I just really didn't want a repeat of our first loss of, like, double green 7-card hand, mulligan, double green 6-card hand. Cool, I have to keep this one now. I just didn't want to do that again. But if we mulliganed, speaking on statistics, we probably do hit a green-white hand and have a slightly higher chance of winning that, but their hand was excellent. and going to be incredibly hard to beat on a mulligan. So it is what it is. But again, we are in the non-competitive for fun draft period, so I'm just going to gamble on that mulligan decision as an act of protest against the arena shuffler for giving me that hand in the final game. Just like, no, we will get there. We can defeat the gods of Magic Arena. No, we can't. No, we can't. We have to mulligan those. They're never going to give us the planes if we keep that. All right. Is what it is. Pretty much every single loss, I think, was mana issues. So the only thing that changes our record here is mulligan decisions. We've got a better chance of winning that last game if we mulligan to a 6-card hand, get lucky and hit both colors. Pretty frustrating amount of mana issues for a pretty much even deck, a 9-8 split. But what can you do? It certainly happens. It's definitely part of Magic. And I definitely could have mulliganed more aggressively. I mean, the game where I mulliganed to a 6-card 2 forest hand, I could have mulliganed that as well. But with that hand, we did have Harpooner guaranteed, I think, and then Rhino on turn 4 off of any land draws to 4 mana. I believe the double green hand that we kept legitimately was, yeah, turn 2 Harpooner and a Rhino no matter what. Well, not no matter what, off of any lands drawn instead of specifically needing the planes drawn. I think the only mulligan decision that was like objectively terrible was the last one, and that was, that was kind of a meme. That was just like, whatever. Let's do it. It didn't work out, but we took the super greedy gamble for fun. Or I took the super greedy gamble for fun. It's on me. I'll take that one. I don't need to use the we on that. I'll say we did really well. We got a 6-3-1. Thank you all, chat, very much. You helped me greatly. That was our joint effort to 6-3 with a great Selesnya deck. That third loss, the super greed mulligan decision, that's all me. Don't worry about it. We got 1,800 gems and 5 packs out of this run, though, so we are in the money yet again. Great stuff going infinite on Pioneer Masters these last couple Devotion drafts, and we'll see if we can't do that for the whole final week of Pioneer Masters. But for now, that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.